G'day guys, it's Chris from Kaiser Games here with a review of the first two laps of the recent SimMasters round 7 at Sepang online league race that I'm a part of. Was being live streamed on Sunday night, but I thought I'd do a little bit of a review on those first two laps because it was utter chaos and I just seemed to be in the epicenter of bloody all of it. So we're going to have a look at those first two laps in a bit of detail. Starting off with the overlay screen here, we've got the outside view central, and up in the top left we've got the view from my car. See, we're starting in the AM category, which is down the back. The pro guys are up the front, and strangely enough, the Coles car park chaos started with the pro guys. So have a look in the center of the screen there. There we go, that yellow car cutting across the bow of the purple one. Bounces off the fence and ends up back in the track directly in front of me. I'm a bit blindsided, lack of situational awareness, came back on and made contact with the shell car there, the number 17, before copping a blow from the 47 car, which sends me to the dirt. Discretion better part of valor because there was a pile-up at turn 2, and I decided just to cut across the grass and try and make a safe re-entry, which we largely managed to do. Managed to get around the outside of my old mate in number 47, who sent me into the grass in the first place, so that was great success. Bit of a car park down into the hairpin. Thought about a passing move and pulled out of it, which compromised my exit. One of the faster guys in the purple Porsche behind me, he was fair on my bumper. Had a look around the outside through this left-hander. And I just thought I'd give him a little bit of extra space because I wanted to avoid another catastrophe. Got a bit out of shape and he managed to get past me quite easily. At this point, we're thinking, oh, it's time to reset, it's got to be. And then the world just exploded in front of me again. So there's contact between the purple car and the Golf car there. I took evasive action, which put me onto the grass, but being on the grass, I missed my braking marker and ended up careening into a couple of cars. And then a little bit of a dangerous re-entry when I was coming back on, and I'll put my hand up there and say that wasn't really kosher. And then 47, he gives me a tag going into the right-hander there. I collect the Golf car again. Him and I were not having a good run. And then rejoin the race. Golf car manages to slide in front of me. And we look to continue on. Pretty much straight away, we've got a Bob Jane T-Mart's car out on the infield there. I'm into the Golf car with the high beams, flashing the lights, trying to unsettle him, which kind of half worked, but I unsettled myself at the same time, so a passing opportunity didn't present itself. My mate in 47, he's there in front of us again. He had a bit of a drama coming off the second last corner, and then in the background you see one of the shell cars again facing the wrong way. The Golf car dives down the inside of 47 there. 47 tries a switchback, grabs a whole bunch of curb. I had to get out of the throttle, something chronic, to be able to avoid hitting him, and we head down the main straight. I'm not really close enough to make a passing move here, but he picked the brakes up a little earlier than what I was anticipating, and my bad, I just ran out of space and managed to get into the back of him. Looks like a little bit of a bump and run, and I felt bad about it, but he did manage to come back on me into turn 2. We rubbed panels again, and then we continued on. So, like I said, felt bad for the bump and run, but given the first lap that I'd had, I thought I'm going to take one and deal with the penalty if it comes later. We're thinking at this point, geez, that was a crazy first lap. Surely things have got to settle down now. I'm starting to do the math, looking at where I've ended up. I think at this point I was about 14th or 13th in class after starting 6th. Would have been somewhere in the 20s overall. I'm starting to think, okay, can we get a bit of a resurgence going here? Can we fight back like we did in Adelaide, where I was facing the wrong way at turn 1 and managed to fight back to win the race? And I'm starting to think about, okay, where's my strategy going to be? Where am I going to pull into the pits? There's a fair gap between me and the Golf car, although I can see that I'm taking a bit of time out of him here and there. So I'm starting to think, all right, where am I going to make a passing move on this guy? Where's safe to make a passing move? Because clearly we've seen that there's a lot of not safe places to make a passing move. And yeah, basically just starting to think about, all right, where's the strategy coming in? What's going on from here? Setting up now to go into the last corner. So we've got this back straight, and you can sort of see that I've dragged in the golf car a bit, and the golf car's dragged in the group in front of us. So we're making some good progress. And this is where, I'm not even thinking about what's on the other side of this corner. It's a hairpin, but we turn in, and all of a sudden there's cars everywhere. There's another shell car in the dirt, and he actually drives across the track as I'm trying to make my way through, and I pulled a little bit of precision driving to manage to split those two cars that had their little whoopsie. So that was heart in the mouth kind of moment. I'll tell you what, it was absolutely crazy. So we'll go back to the start of the race from the inside view. And what we're going to do is break down this first incident with a bit of slow motion. So if we have a look down the front, about mid-screen, we can see a car now exiting stage left there. We're going to slow motion now. There's a whole bunch of tyre smoke on the right-hand side. Those little flames that are punching out of the exhaust of the cars in front are where they're starting to lift off the throttle. You can see my rev counter goes down here. That's where I've lifted off the throttle. That yellow car was going right, and then all of a sudden just pirouetted straight into my path, and I end up looking at the sky, drop down, bounce off the orange car, which thankfully actually kept me off the fence, and then I was able to sort of gather up, but again, I've just got no situational awareness. Made a bit of contact with car 17 there, the red shell car, and then obviously the contact with 47. There's that car park that I was talking about, that pile up in turn 2 that made me decide, let's duck down over the grass. Rounded up 47 around the outside. You can see there's a fair gap between me and the guys in front now, but we get to the hairpin, and it's like everyone's decided that we're just going to stop for a chat. Everyone sort of braked fairly hard, and I closed that gap fairly quickly. I got sideways as I picked the throttle up, which allowed dude in the purple car behind me, I think that's Alex Young. He gets a bit of a run on me. Like I said, I got a bit out of shape and just decided, well, instead of making life hard and causing another crash, we'll give him a bit of space and sort it out in the next couple of laps, you know what I mean? So you can see the silver car there ended up well wide, and I think this is where a lot of the problem started. But right there you see the contact between the purple car and the Golf number 8 car. Now I've swung hard left to avoid the Golf car, and because of the rear engine, end up on the grass. On the right there, that 100-meter board that just disappeared, that was the braking marker. So I'll finally get it back onto the track where I can actually pick the brakes up properly at about the 50-meter board, and that's when there's no hope of pulling the car up. And I was just trying to avoid cars, but unfortunately there's just nowhere to go. That's how the dangerous re-entry resulted in contact with the Golf car. We'll have a look at it now in full speed, just so you can have a look at how quickly everything happens. So the contact happens between the purple car and the Golf car. I swing, get that little tank slap onto the grass, fire into the back of 911 there, and then it's basically all over from there. Rejoin, copy little contact from number 9, which again, like I said, dangerous re-entry. But then we come up to the next little right-hander, and 47 into the rear quarter panel under brakes, turns me around. I collect car 8 again, the Golf car. He does a dangerous re-entry, but that kind of frees me up to get going. He manages to get around in front of me, and then it's like, oh, take a bit of a deep breath, and where are we going to go from here? This is about the point that I'm flashing the headlights at him, because this is a difficult part of the track, and I figured I can goad him into out-braking himself, which did actually work, but then I kind of picked the throttle up too soon, got that little bit of slip in the rear end, and had to button out of it. And now we're just going to have a look at the final turn, lap 2. Once again, we make the turn, pick up the late apex, and all of a sudden there's just 2 cars on the outside of the track. Now I'm starting to move to the left to try and give them space, but the shell car's decided it's going left as well. So to avoid the accident, I actually open the steering up, give it some right-hand lock, and sort of split the difference between those 2 cars. And I believe my exclamation at that point was, holy shit balls, which I think was apt. I'll have a look at it in real time again. So again, we just grab first gear, get the turn in, late apex, picked the throttle up nice and early, and all of a sudden there's a shell car right in front of me, and we sort of like somehow managed to get through it without making contact. And the last thing that we'll look at is the chase cam. Just I thought this was cool just because you can see just how close everything is. So again, that nice late apex, early on the throttle, and all of a sudden there's a shell car in the way. We go to slow motion, there's another golf car, and it's just like, holy crap. And somehow we managed to get through it. And from there, the rest of the race was actually pretty quiet. Like I said, we dropped back to pretty well dead last, which would have been about 23rd or 24th overall, and 14th in class. We managed to come back to, I think it was 7th in class and about 14th overall. So it wasn't too bad. A lot of fun. I was sweating bullets the whole time. It was hard work, a lot of concentration. But yeah, that's my video on the pandemonium that was Sunday night Sepang. Thanks for watching, guys. Catch you later.